Alright, what day is it? 4th of July. And what does it mean? Captain America's birthday. So in this occasion, I watched Captain America Civil War at 0.25x speed and found 25 new details that you may or may not have seen before. And I'm your Canadian lad, so without any further ado, let's begin. Number 1. In the final battle of Civil War, where Tony and Steve were in hand-to-hand combat, Tony wasn't a match for Cap, so he had to tell Friday to analyze Cap's fighting pattern. And in the analysis, if we pause for a moment and zoom in, we can see the impact force behind each of Cap's punch. The hardest punch Cap threw was 1,346 Newton, which is approximately 1.8 horsepower. That is nuts, and probably that's why Cap was able to hold off a freaking helicopter with his bare hands. And this brings me to another small little detail, number 2. Notice wherever Cap would punch in Tony's suit, Tony's heads-up display would go red exactly in that spot. For example, in this shot, Cap is throwing a punch at Tony's helmet, so in his heads-up display we see a red light surrounding his helmet, indicating he's getting hit exactly in that spot. And in the previous shot, Captain America is off screen, but is still throwing punches at Tony. And how would you know that? Simple. Just look at Tony's HUD display and we can see exactly where he is being hit. And now the last detail from this scene. Number 3. Tony can actually see Captain America through his shield. At this point, Tony with his normal eyes shouldn't be able to see Cap's face because the shield is blocking the view. But with the help of Mark 46, Tony could see through the shield and scan Cap's face, which only makes me wonder what else can Tony see through. Anyway, moving on. Number 4. When Spider-Man asked Bucky if he had a metal arm, Sam Wilson aka Falcon then intervenes and takes out Spider-Man. But notice, just as the camera moves towards them, Bucky was in the way, so he had to move out of the way of the camera. But here's the fun part. Bucky does it in style. Here's how it looks at regular speed.
You have a metal arm?
Number 5. At the beginning of the movie, when Steve Rogers told Wanda to get the gas out from the CDC facility, notice that Wanda used her powers to create an energy shield to protect her back from gunfire while focusing on removing the gas. This is one of my most favorite details from the entire movie. Number 6. Just before the airport battle begins, notice when Iron Man and War Machine arrive at the airport, War Machine's landing shakes the camera much more than Iron Man's, implying how much heavier his suit is.
Wow, it's so weird how you run into people at the airport. Don't you think that's weird?
Definitely weird.
Now we already know War Machine's suit is heavier, but to be able to see it visually affecting the camera is a great little detail. Number 7. Throughout the airport battle, Tony's heads-up display kept on showing a warning for the left arm of his suit, but in slow motion I found the exact moment Iron Man got hit in his left arm, which substantially not only damaged his suit but also his left arm. This incident took place when Wanda aka Scarlet Witch was throwing parked cars from the airport towards Iron Man. Number 8. At this point you must have seen that Falcon fired his Red Wing gadget at Tony Stark. But here's something I noticed in 0.25x speed. Tony was preparing to deploy a net to trap Falcon in it, but then the drone hits him and he failed to capture Falcon. And that's when we get a clear shot at this trapped net. Here's how it looks in regular speed.
Anybody on our side hiding any shocking and fantastic abilities they'd like to disclose? I'm open to suggestions.
Number 9. After landing in Siberia, Bucky took a gun from the Quinjet. Now the drawer in which Bucky gets the gun from is labeled Romanov, so this gun Bucky was using belongs to Black Widow. Number 10. At the end of the film, Vision is seen contemplating the role he played in the catastrophe he himself had predicted. But notice he's holding a rook, the only chess piece that represents a thing instead of a person. Just like him in the Avengers, he's the only one who isn't a person. Number 11. When Tony Stark was asking Thaddeus Ross to give him more time to capture Steve Rogers, if I zoom in, the scar tissue can be seen on Tony Stark's chest. This is because Tony removed his arc reactor that used to be on his chest at the end of Iron Man 3. Number 12. In the final fight between Tony, Steve, and Bucky, Tony's targeting system gets damaged. And again, because of watching in slow motion, I found the exact moment his targeting system got compromised. Tony shoots his blast at Bucky, but then Cap jumps in front and deflects it using his shield, which then hits back at Tony's helmet, essentially causing a damage to his retinal scan, which also took out his targeting system. This happens so fast in the movie that without slowing down the playback, it gets very difficult to notice it. Number 13. In the scene where Steve was watching the news, if we pay attention to the background, you can see the drawing of a monkey in the Captain America suit that he drew in the first Captain America movie.
Hello, Steve.
Hi.
That was quite a performance.
Yeah, I had to improvise a little bit. Crowds I'm used to are usually more, 12.
This also works as a metaphor as to how he thinks the public see him in both films. Number 14. At the beginning of the film, Steve Rogers had the Avengers logo on both of his sleeves, but as soon as the Avengers fell apart because of the Sokovia Accords, Cap decided to remove the Avengers logo. When he goes to capture Bucky or during the rest of the film, this logo is no longer there on his sleeves. Number 15. In the scene where Tony goes to recruit Peter Parker, we see Aunt May and Tony interact for the first time.
It's so hard for me to believe that she's someone's aunt.
Yeah, well, we come in all shapes and sizes, you know.
But if you look closely, you'll see Aunt May is wearing a wedding ring around her neck. This is probably a nod to the late Ben Parker, and I give kudos to the Russo brothers for giving us this small yet valuable detail. Number 16. When Hawkeye came to take Wanda with him, Vision tried to stop them. So in retaliation, Wanda sends Vision down through the floor. But here's the interesting detail. Wanda doesn't push him down. Instead, she makes him very dense and heavy, which explains why the ground starts cracking while he's still on his feet and even before his knees hit the ground. His density is increasing. She made him so dense that he became too heavy to move and fell through the floor. Number 17. Howard and Maria Stark, parents of Tony Stark, were killed on December 16, 1991. Assuming their bodies were found the next day, their date of death was announced as December 17, 1991. In a deleted scene from the first Avengers movie and even in Iron Man 1, they showed this exact date. And in Civil War, they continued this detail that was established years ago in the MCU. Number 18. When Tony Stark went to the prison cell to meet with the other Avengers who are now deemed as criminals, Hawkeye refers to Tony as the Futurist.
The Futurist, gentlemen! The Futurist is here! He sees all. He knows what's best for you, whether you like it or not.
The Futurist happens to be a song and album by Robert Downey Jr., which was released back in 2004. Number 19. This was only the second appearance of Ant-Man in the MCU, but there was one small upgrade in his suit that we didn't see in the first Ant-Man movie, and that is the buttons that he uses to shrink and grow are now labeled to avoid confusion. Number 20. In the final scene, Scott Lang can be seen tapping a beat while in his prison cell, foreshadowing one of his pastimes he's gonna have when he is under house arrest in Ant-Man and the Wasp. So Scott Lang choosing to sing or doing something with musical instrument was already foreshadowed in this movie. Number 21. When Iron Man suits up on the helicopter, which is a very cool scene by the way, you can see it says MKXLVI, which essentially means Mark 46 in Roman numeral. A clever way to show us which edition of his suit Tony is using. Number 22. When Friday shows Tony Stark the pictures of Zemo, Tony asks if she has run facial recognition, to which she replies, "What do I look like?" Tony said, "I don't know, I've been picturing a redhead."
He was met by this man.
Did you run facial recognition yet?
What do I look like?
I don't know. I've been picturing a redhead.
You must be thinking of someone else.
Must be.
And the funny thing is, Carrie Condon, who voiced Friday, is a redhead in real life. So this might be a quick little nod to Condon, and the reason I'm including this detail is because I'm a big fan of her voice work in all Avengers movies and especially for her role in Better Call Saul. Number 23. When Bucky is in Bucharest, Romania, he's shown to be buying plums at a fruit market. Now plums are beneficial in treating those with Alzheimer's disease, which therefore is suitable for Bucky because he has been brainwashed and is trying to remember his life before becoming the Winter Soldier. Number 24. Scott Lang's helmet design has been changed since his last movie. In the first Ant-Man movie, the face mask was in two parts, but in this movie, the mask comes off as one solid piece, so his suit got quite a lot of upgrades in a small span of time. Number 25. In the post-credit scene, Peter Parker is wearing a mathlete shirt. This is a nod to the nerd that Peter is in his school. The Russo brothers have established the roots for Peter in the MCU in such a way that still complements his character till this day. And that's it. Civil War is one of the best movies in the MCU, and some would even say it's Avengers 2.5, and I'm no different. I think this movie planted the seeds way better than Avengers Age of Ultron. Because the Avengers broke up in this film, it helped build up Infinity War, which then led us to Endgame. So Civil War, in a sense, is not only a Captain America sequel, but also an Avengers movie that laid the eggs for future Marvel projects, and that's why every time I watch this film, I appreciate it more and more. And this completes my Captain America trilogy in 0.25x speed, so if you haven't watched the other two videos yet, make sure you do. Now if you enjoyed this video, then please give me a thumbs up and grab the subscribe button if you haven't already, and follow me on Instagram where I post updates about my videos. Till then, I will see you lads in the next one.